Okay, we are ready to start our sewing process, but before we get too far, we need to look at our pattern pieces and make sure there's nothing else that we need to mark. For example, these 2 dots need to be marked on the inside fabric. They don't need to be marked on both because we're going to sew to this point, backstitch and stop. Sew to this point, backstitch and stop on the lining so we can turn the bag inside out through here. These marks can be marked with, like taking a little pencil right here and marking the dots. Chalk for fabric is a good idea. But since these are just telling me where to start and stop sewing, and I'm going to be looking at this edge, there is another method you can use where, as long as you're clipping like 1/8 of an inch or less, you don't want to compromise your fabric, but you can give it a small little clip right there. And now I know where to start or stop sewing. Once I know that, and I am ready to sew, I can remove my pins and take off the pattern. If I'm not going to sew today, I should keep the pattern pieces on the fabric, or if I'm not using them yet, keep the pattern pieces on the fabric so that I can remember what's what. So now I've got the inside and the outside of the bag cut and ready to go here. I'm going to start with sewing my pockets first, and then I'm going to sew the pockets onto the bag, and then I'm going to sew the bag together. The straps will also be put together first in there, so I'm going to remove my pins from these as well. Technically, you only need to make 1 pocket on your bag, and it's going to go on one of the outside spots right here. I like doing the opposite color, but it's up to you if you want to keep the same. If you want to do a second pocket, you could do it on the other side of the outside. And then as far as the inside goes, you can choose to put a pocket on there as well. But those are extra. You're only required to have 1 pocket. As far as the handles of your bag go, you're going to have one that comes across like so on this side of the bag, and then one that's going to do the same thing on the other side of the bag. So you only need 2 of these, and you get to decide if this is the outside of my bag. Do I want my strap to be a fun accent color, or do I want it to be the same? You get to pick. Same with your pockets. I think I'm going to do the fun accent colors. Oh, by the way, you don't even have to have them the same. You could do one of one and one of the other. That is up to you. I think I'm going to make accent color colors with the straps being polka dots as well as my pocket. So these I'm going to keep just as backups, maybe to allow myself to practice sew if I want. So I'm just going to place them to the side. With my extra pocket pieces, and I'm only going to worry about sewing these right now, so my 2 body pieces I'm also going to set to the side and only care about these to start. To sew our straps and our pockets, the first thing we need to do is we've got a right side and a wrong side. This is the side we want to see. We don't want to see this one. So we're going to unfold it so it's one long strip. And then we're going to fold it together so the right sides touch and the wrong sides are on the outside. And then we're going to pin it together. When you pin fabric together, You're the boss, so please tell the fabric to do what you want it to. And what we want it to do is we want this edge to line up exactly. So we're going to line up the edge exactly and we'll put a pin. When we pin, you go into the fabric, turn, and come back through the fabric. And it's going to be perpendicular to the edge with our pin heads off on the edge we're going to sew. I'm going to be sewing right here, not over here. I'm sewing the open side shut. The fold side is together. I don't need to be sewing it. And then a general rule of thumb, once again, is about a hand's width apart. You can do your pins because our fabric is nice and stable. If it is slippery fabric or stretchy fabric or even a drastic curve, you're going to want pins more often. Our fabric is a very stable cotton that's a straight line, so we can space them out a little bit. And there we go. One long pin, and we're going to sew on this side close to the heads, pulling them out as we go. I'm going to pin all 3 of these right now to start with. Okay, when we sew our pocket, it's going to be a lot like our Angry Bird, where we're going to need to sew 3 complete sides. And about an inch, and about an inch on another side. Our seams are 1/2 inch seams. So there's a 1/2 inch in from both sides. All I did was draw, so I remember to leave right here open, and I'm going to sew the 3 other sides. Now I'm ready to sew.